Born the son of a chief, he entered the army and staged a coup. Expelled from the ANC, he's been a thorn in its side ever since. My guest on Under the Skin is UDM leader General Bantu Holomisa. General Bantu Holomisa, thanks for joining us on Under the Skin.
Thank you very much.
At the age of 21, you had opportunity, connections, some resources to go to university, and yet you chose to go into the army. Why?
I cheated my mother.
Okay.
Because I said to her, I just want to work for a year after matric. And then the following year, I promised her that I would go to university. But while I was working at the post office, I was recruited to go and join the Transkei Defence Force. And those who recruited me dangled a carrot to me to say, if you join the Defence Force, you will keep fit and you will earn Transkei rugby colours. But I never went back to university until 1979.
Yes.
When I enrolled with the University of Fort Hare branch in Umtata. And I didn't finish that year because I was part-timing. By June, I was wished out to do a course outside Transkei, and I never went back to university again.
The Defence Force, in all its manifestations, was part of the repressive apparatus of the apartheid state. Were there times when you had to hold your tongue, make compromises, examine your conscience?
Fortunately for Transkei Defence Force, we were not part of the apartheid machinery, which was used to buttress people or harass people. Transkei Defence Force was never part of the border controls of South Africa. So we were lucky in that sense.
But no crises of conscience ever in your time there?
Well, the question of conscience is, it was always there because at the Jonglizwe College where I studied, we were fortunate to have teachers like Advocate Dumisa Ntsabeza, who taught us a lot about the politics of the world, the ideologies which are there, the pending independence of Transkei then. We debated at length, and most of us, we rejected it outright. So we were aware, but when I was in the Defence Force, I focused mainly on studying. And fortunately, as I've said, we're never part of a Defence Force of SADF, which was used to harass people.
Some people ask the question, without Bantu Holomisa, what would the UDM be?
Well, you will be surprised that Holomisa alone would have not sustained the UDM up until now. Since 1999, a lot of political parties have been established, but they vanished into the thin air. UDM is spread throughout the country. You will see, for instance, this in the next coming elections, where we want to parade young fellows to go to parliament and provincial legislatures.
You talk about parties vanishing into thin air. That hasn't happened to you, but you've experienced a very sharp downward trend in your electoral support.
Yes.
You burst on the scene, 3.4% of the popular vote, 1999. Last time we had a national and provincial election, just 1% of the vote. Why have you declined so sharply?
Remember that the reason for that decline was the floor crossing legislation, which robbed us of both human and financial resources. In the last election, there were only two parties in 2014 which showed growth, except the EFF, which was new. That was UDM and DA. And also in 2016, we showed an upward growth, while other political parties, including the ruling party, were pointing south. So wait until next year.
Let's talk now, though, because we're still looking ahead. The absolute numbers, yes, a small increase in the local government election, but still 0.62% of the South African public wanted to give the UDM your vote. It does suggest that the UDM is never going to be a big political party. If it isn't, what is its role in politics?
Well, that's a wishful thinking for those who think like that. Remember that even the DA, which is the official opposition today, at one stage had one member in parliament for years. It took ANC to run, to be in government almost over 85 years. So you guys, you must not put pressure to us unnecessary. But with limited numbers, which we have shaped the politics of this country. We have bettered well. We are still occupying the crease when it comes to anti-corruption, fighting corruption. So we are satisfied that come next year, UDM will be rewarded. You were here when we led the campaign against Zuma. You were here when we put coalitions together. You were here when we chased the chairperson of IEC, Pensitlagula. So it's time for us to be rewarded.
It's time for you to be rewarded, but you do know the fickleness of the electorate. In the beginning, you were something new, and people came out to vote you for it. How do you think the changes in the African National Congress, the departure of Jacob Zuma, the presidency now, both of the party and the country, of Cyril Ramaphosa, how does that change the lie of the land for you?
Well, the changes within the ANC is too early to expect that you will gain something.
Yes.
Because the followers of political parties, sometimes they are like those of football, Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. If a team is not doing well, they don't go to the stadium.
So once a pirate, always a pirate.
Yes.
Once a UDM, always a UDM.
Yes.
Is that how it works?
So what I'm expecting is that we need to look at the 48% of the population which has not been participating in elections, and also to the new entrance, that is the youth of which will be qualified to vote. So those are the areas we are targeting. We are not interested in wasting our time in recruiting ANC members. Let us focus and introduce ourselves to the population of South Africa. ANC has only got a membership of about 1 million, if I'm not mistaken. But we have 52 million population.
Yes.
That's what we should be targeting. Leave ANC alone. Go and say to the people of South Africa, invest in me, this is what I've done. Not what I'm going to do, coming up with empty promises. People are fed up with that.